Anything that I could say would fade into insignificance compared with my heart feels.
O.H.M,
Your heart feel at this moment.
I've been to Babylon in my dreams. I spoke to a whore and I swore she was queen. I spoke to a fiend and I swore he was king. There were so many rings, there were so many rings. Those who are dissatisfied flock to the foreign, and when their mouths are dry, they don't care who is pouring wine from the fruit that is spoiled and is rotten, that fills the night with sinning with the sun it is forgotten. Developed first by Noah and it made him curse Canaan. Belief so devilish it was erased from the Quran. But here in Babylon, it flows like water, saying strike thy wife and expose thy daughter. Water with the quality of fire in the throat, like the fire in the minds, reading lines that I wrote. I spoke with the ledgers and the murderers and thieves who drink it ceremoniously, downing it with ease. They believe that it symbolizes blood from a god, but they're living like some devils. I find that fairly odd. In the light of day, they are pious, they are holy, but find them in the shade, their flesh is dying, old and moldy. I've been to Babylon in my dreams. I spoke to a whore and I swore she was queen. I spoke to a fiend and I swore he was king. There were so many rings, there were so many rings. Those who are dissatisfied despise what is local. Their eye precious opal and rely on the vocals of a vocal point of lies who will point up to the skies, enticing them with lawlessness, absolving them for crime when they shed no blood, no sweat, and no tears. He opens their emotions and controls them with fear. I am not a prophet, but my words can be prophetic, pathetic. Simple thinking people never really get it, they just nod cause I yell. They just say, what the hell? This man seems excited, so I'll try it as well. And that's swell, but why should I preach if my words don't reach your ears? It's clear that they haven't passed my teeth. I walk hell in bare feet. This is my torment to spit a torrent, to read the thoughts of men that wonder where my words went. All I offer is knowledge and logic and reason, but they holler for a holiday season to be as heathens. I've been to Babylon in my dreams. I spoke to a whore and I swore she was queen. I spoke to a fiend and I swore he was king. There were so many rings, there were so many rings. Those who are dissatisfied cannot stay at home. Something in the genome urges them to roam, and that's not wrong, but you know that they change and they return to the home range. It seems so strange. They cause unrest, they are feared and hated, openly, socially beaten down and paraded, degraded to the point of being chased from the land. They do not know our ways, they do not understand why I ran them over sands 2,200 miles, and I did it with a smile because they were so vile. Banished to the caves, they lost God in mathematics. They killed out of rage and it made them feel ecstatic. Barbarians and pillagers of villages they were. Now modernized and colonized, it's speeds that make them blur. I concur with the doctrines of rebels who attack. Fuck their customs, but I'll take their bullets just to give them back. I've been to Babylon in my dreams. I spoke to a whore and I swore she was queen. I spoke to a fiend and I swore he was king. There were so many rings, there were so many rings. Those who are dissatisfied now change places. The hater and the hater traded faces and exchanged races, because they robbed the Syrians to manage making steel, and opium was linked to the east for gunpowder at a deal for real to rule the world. They were now able to name their creation for Gunhilda, a queen in fables. They blasted their way into the house of my fathers. But why make martyrs? This foolishness and fodder. They handed some guns and said to them, you were higher. They snuck some to the rest and whispered, kill those liars. And then true warfare was born. Then they gave the world the lens so they can see and give me scorn. And now I want to kill. I've thrown away my science. So many lies, the truth is only known by silence. The diamonds and the gold remind me of my origin. They tear my home apart, for they know that there is more within. I've been to Babylon in my dreams. I spoke to a whore and I swore she was queen. I spoke to a fiend and I swore he was king. There were so many rings, there were so many rings. And now the new dissatisfied have been identified. Our caves are the ghetto, gangsters are our barbarians. Knowledge is my gun.
So let us leave aside words, he says. Let there remain just great silence before God, the silence that becomes prayer. I ask you to be with me.
I've been to Babylon in my dreams. I spoke to a whore and I swore she was queen. I spoke to a fiend and I swore he was king. There were so many rings, there were so many rings.